Warning: the following content is strictly meant for comedy purposes. Anyone who finds it offensive, well, it's a shonda.
I'm a Jew from Queens, so I like Chinese food. Chinese food is the best food in America because the Chinese did not stick to the food in China. They were like, we know what Americans like, and it is not to learn about other cultures. Americans like three things: chicken, breading, sauce. General Tso's, great food.
Welcome to another episode of Two Jews and a Gentile. I am your host, Sean, joined by my faithful co-host, Ellen.
Hello. I am doing well. It's chilly here in Colorado. We've got some snowmageddon, but it's all good.
Sweet. And since he did such an amazing job filling in for Scotty the last time that Schmendrick no-showed us, welcome back to Wayne. Wayne, how are you?
Thank you. Apparently, you must have been really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Although I am a little concerned tonight. Last time I was accompanied by a shiksa turned mensch, I think it was.
You got the words right. Really good.
She's not here tonight, so I don't know if that makes me the mensch or how that works, but yeah, do my best.
It remains to be seen. Don't get ahead of yourself.
I have my hopes up.
You can graduate to mensch by the end of this call. And now, as you all heard at the top of the show, we're going to be graced by a comedic genius this evening, straight from Queens, New York, the one and only Frederick Goldstein, also known as Freddy G. How you doing, Freddy?
Oh my God, yeah, no one calls me a Jew. Yeah, definitely not. My wife calls me that. Yeah. You know what? It's great to be found, Wayne. It's hard to find a Gentile in Denver, Colorado, but you managed to do it. So happy to be here. Yeah, good to meet you, Sean, Ellen, and Wayne.
Yes, thanks for agreeing to talk with us tonight. Hopefully by the time we're through, you won't regret that decision.
I sometimes regret what we're doing, but we do it anyway. I never know what I say. We listen to it afterwards. I'm like, I blacked out. I don't recall that conversation.
Is there any requirement that guests can't listen to previous episodes? Otherwise, they might change their mind. I'm like, there's no way I'm talking to them.
Well, I'd be curious, Fred, have you heard all of our previous episodes and you still decided to sign up?
It's better etiquette to listen to one or two, but I've been sick. I haven't gotten to it. So I haven't gotten a chance to listen to any of the previous episodes.
He's coming in blind.
It's okay.
It would be better if I had listened.
So what you're saying is you're already a terrible guest.
We understand. They might have made you sicker.
That's it. Show's over. You're out of here. No. I'm sure our listeners at home would love to know a little bit more about yourself and how you got into comedy. So, just kind of give us the bullet points there, Fred.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a comedian, podcaster in New York. I started about 10 years ago. I mean, I was a guy in an office who took a comedy class and then over a couple more years decided to get serious. And then around 2014 started doing it every day. And that's kind of what makes you a real comic. I've been doing comedy every day. I guess now it's almost 11 years. If anyone listening lives anywhere near Queens, you have a weekly show at QED in Astoria. I do a bunch of stand-up weekly. I do podcasts, all that. I post a lot on social media, stand-up bits, sketches, clips from my podcast.
Role play is tough for me. Every role is a guy who meets a woman and then immediately gets laid. That's not a role I was meant to play.
So I've got a question for you. You just made a comment. You said that if you're doing it every day, that's what makes you a comedian. Were you getting paid every day? Because I would think that would make you.
Oh, that makes you a professional comedian.
Okay.
Only a small percent of comics make a living by doing it. And New York is one of the harder places to make money doing it. So sometimes I make money doing it, but it's not as much as you'd like. A lot of shows in New York are unpaid or low paying. Some shows maybe shouldn't pay that much because people are checking out new material, whatever. So yeah, I do wish comics were getting paid more. That's one of my things I think about. But yeah, I just think if you're doing it a lot, that makes you a comic. Once a day is maybe an arbitrary point. So if someone is doing a little less and they say they're a comic, that's fine too.
Because by that criteria, then in elementary school, technically, I was a comic.
Only in elementary?
I mean, you're saying you were doing it every day. My principal and my mother might disagree, but if I was being funny every day and not getting paid, I feel like I'm a comic.
So being funny is a separate thing. It's very weird. There's people who are funny. They have no desire to get on stage. They're not stand-up comics, but they're funny. They would be funny every day. Then there's people who have the desire to get on stage every day. Some of them are not funny. They're just not naturally funny. You wouldn't find them funny in a conversation.
Move this man!
they can learn how to make an audience laugh. So sadly, being a stand-up comic and being funny are two separate things. Ideally, they converge, but they don't always.
I would just like to say, Fred, you sound like my kind of guy. Very nuanced, very detailed, very well thought out. The rules have been identified.
Wayne, the check's in the mail. Thanks for sucking up to the guest.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, Wayne's very sweet. Yeah.
I guess I'm curious, like, do you identify as a Jewish comedian, or do you just say, I'm a comedian? Like, where do you, how do you identify?
I'm not a great Jew. I'm not religious. I've been an atheist since I was 19. I did go to Hebrew school, so I know a lot of stuff. Also, in general, I just know a lot of stuff. So, like, I just got dorky, and I know lots about Christianity also. Like, I just know a lot about a lot of stuff.
Now, crucifixion, you did not get to keep your clothes on. So he was crucified naked. They always depict him with clothes on because they did not want to have to pick the Messiah's penis.
But I don't believe in God. I'm not that into the culturally Jewish stuff either. The thing is, like, it's my ethnicity. So not all Jews are the same ethnicity, or you don't have to be an ethnicity to be Jewish if you're converted or whatever. That's all fine. But there's a type of ethnicity, Ashkenazi Jewish. They're basically Jews who lived in Eastern Europe. And that's where my ethnic background is. So in that way, I'm Jewish. You can't really change that. So yeah, I'm ethnically Jewish. I've done Jewish comedy at different points, or jokes about Jewish stuff. Not as focused on that anymore.
And I would be afraid to say baby in the name of a food item. No one puts baby on the menu. But the truth is, you can say baby in a food item. Chili's proved that with the baby back ribs.
Though you do have extensive research about Chinese food, which is culturally appropriate for Jews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Chinese food jokes are definitely more like that kind of cultural thing. Yeah, I am the kind of Jew. I had a bar mitzvah and then I had Chinese food that wasn't kosher that night. That's the kind of Jew I am.
It's like chewing gum in temple on Yom Kippur when you're supposed to be fasting.
Oh, yeah. So Yom Kippur is where I used to fast and then I stopped doing it. I never went to temple on Yom Kippur because my family was antisocial. I did have to quit chewing gum in general. I got addicted to chewing gum at the office job. I used to chew a whole pack like at a time, and then my jaw started hurting, so I had to quit gum. So I've been gum sober since about 2000, maybe 12, 13.
Wow.
You were ahead of the time with the social distancing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We're an antisocial. You're just social distancing.
That is the one thing. People got very judgy during COVID about, like, people staying home and not. And I was good at staying home, and it's important to be safe. But it is much easier for an introvert to quarantine than an extrovert.
Oh, my God. Tell me about it.
The people who need to talk to people every day, it is harder for them to just stay home. With me, it was pretty easy for me to stay home for a couple months and not talk to anybody. And I had my wife. Also, having a wife who you like around is really helpful. And a lot of single people who are extroverts, they didn't have a wife or a spouse, and then they had no one to talk to, so that is tough.
My dogs were very bad at conversation.
I would like to know the caveat you put in there of having a wife you like around. That's an important distinction.
I am not putting up with this anymore.
Putting up with what? I can't talk to people?
I am out of here.
Just in case she's listening, he did clarify he likes you.
I can't even listen to my podcast. Yeah, she's not. She'll find it nerve-wracking. Yeah. She's a behind-the-scenes kind of person. She's a stage manager for, like, theater. She's doing a nice regional show right now in Indianapolis. Didn't know much about Indianapolis, but yeah, enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I love visiting those kind of cities. I mean, Denver's probably cooler, but yeah, it had a little Denver in it. Oh, both cities have a Western Art Museum. Denver, I loved the Western Art Museum when I went. And then Indianapolis is not that far west, but they have a Western Art Museum. Very good. Do not go to Indianapolis without going to the Western Art Museum, if anyone is going there.
Oh, great. Now we have to pay residuals to the Indianapolis Tourism Board. Thanks a lot, Fred.
You said Indianapolis quite a bit.
I have to put in the caption, self-promotion of Indianapolis, give us some money.
You got to keep saying Indianapolis because Indiana has like a crap reputation. So people are like, oh, you're in Indiana. Oh, my God. Like, they're like Mike Pence and like people who love the Confederacy, even though they weren't part of the Confederacy. But Indianapolis is just like another nice blue city.
Freddie, I'm curious. What's your take on matzah? Like, it's a topic of discussion on our previous episodes. So I'm just curious, as someone who's outside of our circle, what's your take on that disgusting cardboardy?
I love it. This is where we separate on opinion.
Egg matzah tastes better. I do like matzah. I am keto, so I don't eat that many carbs. So I'll eat a little matzah on Passover. It's like, oh my God, bread. It's amazing. I know matzah's not real, but it's closer to bread. Yeah, so I do like, yeah. I mean, the whole thing, someone made a rule you can't have egg matzah at the Seder. Like, if you don't like matzah, do a little egg, go easy on yourself.
Seitz makes moon strips, it's called. And it is egg and onion, and it's seasoned with like onion salt. Delish.
Yeah, that is the good thing is, yeah, you could really put anything in the matzah. So we can put whatever food Sean likes. I don't know. Sean, you don't like matzah. Is it the consistency? See, I'm not a consistency guy. I'm more about taste. But I get if it's a consistency thing, that could be a problem for you.
I equate matzah to basically drywall, like, you know.
Which is what it represents. Building temples. We discussed.
Right. So I can rebuild my house with some matzah. Thank you very much, Manischewitz.
We said you were building the Sukkot. Yeah.
Right. Building the Sukkot out of matzah.
But see, it's not a Jewish thing, but the whole gingerbread house thing is the idea that you wish the drywall was tasty.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. You're a monster. I'm not the monster here. You are.
I wonder if gingerbread houses, is that like a Gentile appropriation of the Sukkot?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, gosh. They got better tasting candy. What do we have?
We got jelly rings.
Sometimes candy apples.
Oh, candy apples are Jewish? Oh, nice.
You didn't know? Most of the dentists that have to repair your teeth after eating the candy apples, that's where they get their money from.
He might have to rethink his religious observance now that he knows candy apples is part of it.
Yeah, Simchat Torah is a deep one. Yeah, I don't even eat fruit. I quit fruit in 2017. I'm very exciting. Yeah, no gum, no fruit. Sperm banks will no longer take redheaded sperm. And neither will women.
Freddie, you mentioned that you were bar mitzvah. What was your bar mitzvah like?
We just did it in my house. So, I mean, I had been going to Jewish school. I was just shy, and my dad didn't want a big thing. And we just said, we'll have a rabbi come to the house. So we had the rabbi come to the house. I was pretty emotional. It was very nice. And then I went out with my cousins and my aunt and uncle and my parents to the Chinese food place. It was Chinese seafood. That's how I know it was specific. It was even more or less kosher than normal Chinese food.
You had lobster.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, you're in Queens, you've never been to, like, really nice restaurants. So, like, this is, like, a nicer Chinese food place. And you're like, this is real fancy. Or my grandmother was a Chinese food place. They had black tablecloths, and she called it fine dining. When you're Jewish in the outer boroughs, the fancier Chinese food place, that's where you go for your bar mitzvah.
Yeah, where they have cloth napkins.
Yeah, this is not a takeout place, but it's still basically the same food. Not a chopstick in sight.
That has to be the most antithetical bar mitzvah story I've ever heard. Like, that is the complete opposite of any bar mitzvah. You know, like, we talked about bar mitzvahs on a previous episode, and it was like, you know, it sounded like Woodstock and, you know, all this crazy stuff. And then here you are telling us, yeah, we did it at my house, and then we went out for Chinese food.
So it wasn't about the party for you.
Yeah, I was in a Jewish school, so I went to a couple dozen bar mitzvahs, and I had social anxiety, and they were a nightmare. Because it's like, you're 13, I didn't really go to big parties before that. I'm a shy kid, I got a few friends. No one's giving me booze, I'm way too young to drink or do anything. So it's just like, I'm just socially anxious at this, like, nightclub-like setup, and I don't know what I'm doing there.
Maybe a shot of Fireball would have helped you.
There's not even a thought that I'm going to be drinking alcohol, and it's just like, this was a terrible setup for me. So that was part of it, is like, I really didn't enjoy the bar mitzvahs. I guess if I went to one now, I'd probably like it. I don't drink anymore, but like, I'm used to stuff. So I just like stuff anyway without drinking.
I quit drinking. I tried to get into weed, but it took me a year to find a weed dealer.
Apparently, apple sours are the thing at bar mitzvahs.
No, apricot sours. Apricot sours is what people used to get for us at the bar mitzvahs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet there were bar mitzvahs where the kids were drinking. Maybe even some of the cool kids were drinking. I mean, I had no idea. But, I mean, I wasn't about to. It was just me being socially anxious and whatever. One of them had, like, an arcade that was fun. Some of them were, like, big money. These people had a lot of money.
Right.
So I was the least religious kid and the poorest kid at the Jewish school. It wasn't that expensive of a school. But, like, I lived in like, a two-bedroom apartment. People had, like, big houses, like, big mansions and stuff. And I'm a weird rat-headed kid, you know. So it was just I stuck out pretty bad at the school.
You were set up for success as a teen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also, my parents didn't know from religion at all. They just like, okay, we don't want to send them to public school. I went to a conservative Jewish day school called Solomon Schechter School of Queens. So it wasn't orthodox, but like, they were judgy about the stuff they cared about. And it's a weird place to be as a Jew who's not religious at all.
No one can agree on anything about Jesus, not even his race. But everyone can agree on one thing, which is he was definitely hot.
You're in a career that involves performing in front of strangers. Do you think your anxiety or the kind of the stuff in school kind of drove you down that path, kind of a conquer it, and then now that's your career where you're doing something that if you were told a younger version of yourself, you probably would be horrified?
I think I kind of always wanted to be a public speaker. But yeah, it is pretty different. I mean, stand-ups, the stereotype is that stand-ups had bad childhoods and all that.
My mom lived in Denver. My dad lived in San Francisco, and I would travel between the two cities like a little shit-talking messenger.
So it's like you're kind of going the other way. But yeah, you just have to really want to do it. Also, you have to really think that you're funny or think that you have something to say or both.
In the Middle Ages, people would pay the executioner to sharpen the tip of his axe. And it's still true today. People who don't tip deserve to die a painful death.
So there's like a huge narcissism to it, to the motivation to get on stage. You got to get on stage thousands of times, and many of them will be bad, and you won't get any laughs or whatever.
What would you say is your most successful point in your career thus far?
It's weird because, like, basically in 2020, I went viral a bunch on TikTok with, like, doing the bits in my house.
Do you know what you're going to order to drink?
I think I'll have some seltzer.
You brought your soda stream? Fred, this place is fancy.
Exactly. They only have Pellegrino.
I do think if, like, the quarantine had ended maybe a month or two in, I would have been doing pretty well. Like, I was getting some traction there. And then it just kind of, everyone kind of just stayed in their houses, and then other people succeeded bigger than I did or whatever. I have the podcast now. We've got a good amount of regular listeners and all that. It's a lot of little successes. It's not, I've been on TV or done a special or anything like that. I've thought about doing one-man show also. I may get back to that. I don't know if there's one amazing thing other than, like, I usually tell people, like, I've got 45 million views across the social media. That's, I think, the most eyeballs on me.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that's something to definitely write home about. Being sort of popular on social media sometimes is probably a little bit more important than being popular on television.
Isn't that ridiculous?
We're probably maybe 4 to 5, not 45. Not 4 to 5 million, just 4 to 5 total.
This podcast probably gets about 15 views on average.
No, I mean, my family alone, we probably get 10.
Yeah, I would say the thing is these things all have flaws. So, like, the algorithm is evil, but it's like the people who put you on TV, there's like gatekeepers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That I don't think is so great either. If someone wants to perform stand-up live, they should be good at that. So I agree, like, if someone's big only on social media and they don't know how to do stand-up live, then if their social media people want to see them live, they should do something that they're actually good at. Like, if you do sketches on social media and people come see you live, you should do sketches or whatever. So I think it's better at least that you can get right to the fans with the social media, even though there's huge flaws in it that really bother me. And also, like, that they should be paying more to people who get views because you're producing content for them and they're making all the money and not sharing it with you.
There could never be a Jewish cult because you could never get more than 3 Jews to agree on the same flavor of Kool-Aid.
Do you have aspirations to do anything other than stand-up? I mean, once a performer, always a performer. Do you have an agent? Do you audition for film, stage, anything like that?
I definitely don't have any kind of representation. I mean, I'm open to acting. I've acted in sketches. I would think if I'm acting something, I probably had to have wrote it also. I'm open to writing professionally.
In the 60s, NASA didn't have the technology to fake the moon landing in a movie studio. When they realized that, they said, damn it, now we're going to have to actually go to the moon. Luckily, they won't have this problem with Mars.
I mean, I'm definitely pivoting towards political talk as well and stuff with history. Very passionate about history. I basically read audiobooks all day about history. So, passionate about that kind of stuff also. First, it's just a way to talk about something different than the other comics are talking about and also a way to kind of say things about the world. But they're certainly not looking for, like, a 40-year-old awkward Jew. So,
well, it's a niche market.
So I'm curious, Freddie, with all these great Jewish comedians throughout history, are there any that you sort of look up to? Who, I guess, what's some of your favorite quote unquote Jewish comedians?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I didn't pick to be fans of people based on them being Jewish. So, like, I mean, I might like Carlin. Carlin and Chris Rock were always the ones where I was kind of big fans of. I guess I look more up to a guy like Carlin.
Say what you want about America, land of the free, home of the brave. We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country. Dumbass motherfuckers. You know?
I remember I did listen to, like, Henny Youngman and the one-liners and that kind of stuff. I thought that was really, I thought that was cool, and he's doing it early on. It's hard for me to have heroes because whoever I think of as a hero will eventually, I'll find something about them I don't like. So, so there's definitely, it's kind of cool. Like, okay, there's a lot of funny Jews. I'm a funny Jew. But where I get influences is not just the other Jewish comedians.
I was a redheaded kid. Old ladies would have to touch my hair on the street. They said it was good luck. Well, it wasn't good luck. They're dead now.
Your anxiety growing up and how you've now faced this fear and you're on stage. What was that journey like for you? There's a lot of people, everybody says everybody should be in therapy. So was counseling involved? Coping skills? How did you learn to face the fear? Were you talking to yourself in the mirror? Did you do stuff in front of your family and they laughed and you're like, oh, maybe I can do this?
Oh, yeah. So all that stuff. Yeah. 10 years of therapy. I did 10 years of therapy over a 15-year period. Then as far as getting to do stand-up, I mean, I did some acting classes. I did a Toastmasters, which is public speaking where they go real easy on you. Stand-up classes. Like basically I did a lot of things where they make it easy enough. Improv. Okay, you're going to do stand-up, but like it's a friendly audience and you have a couple drinks before and you're doing a short set. Like just basically I set myself up for success and got myself onto harder and harder types of shows. But when I was really afraid the first few hundred times, I was going easy on myself and not doing the hardest types of stand-up. Because if you just throw yourself right into the deep water, you might not want to go back in.
I guess I'd like to, move on to our next segment. So, Wayne, since you're filling in for Scotty, you must know what time it is.
It's time for me to turn it over to Fred to see what he knows.
No, wrong.
Not quite.
You're
Not
wrong.
quite. I think we're actually going to play a lovely game of Wayne Doesn't Know.
Wayne doesn't know he's out of touch. Living his life inside a cushy clutch. We're breaking free, we're rising up. But Wayne doesn't know, and that's too much.
Oh, goody.
Don't worry, Wayne. We promise we're not going to have you recite another Hebrew prayer this time.
Do I get to phone a friend?
No, you don't get to phone a friend. You don't get to phone a Jew. And since you are our guest, Freddy, we would love if you could assist us in this game.
Oh, yeah, happy to help.
Perfect. Prior to you coming on, I did send you a list of Yiddish phrases. If you wouldn't mind helping us quiz our fill-in goy on each one, that would be terrific. But yes, I'm very curious to see how Mr. Wayne handles himself with a little bit of Yiddish being thrown at him.
And I do like that this is Yiddish, yeah, because as an Eastern European Eastern European Jewish said, this is the language of our ancestors. Even my grandpa, who did not really care about being Jewish and really wanted to assimilate, he would still speak a little Yiddish and now and again. So it is cool to go back to that. Yeah, these are words I all recognize. So am I supposed to ask Wayne one of these?
Yeah, you just go down the list. Obviously, you ask him the word and, we'll see how close he gets to it before we tell him what it actually means.
Okay, great. Okay, Wayne, what do you think the word futz means? F-U-T-Z.
Thoughts.
Can you use it in a sentence, Freddie?
How'd you know I was going to say that, Ellen?
But is that going to give it away?
I mean, the sentence will help a lot, but yeah, it's not too intuitive. And it sounds dirtier than it might be. Yeah.
After some of the horror and other stuff, I'm not sure I should say where my mind is going with some of these. I don't know. Thoughts.
Stop futzing around.
Stop futzing around?
Yeah.
Yeah, stop futzing around and tell us what futz means.
I think it sounds like a curse, like a swear word.
I used it in a sentence for you.
Right.
Oh, you were using the sentence to explain it? I thought you were just telling me to basically get moving.
Oy vey.
Still has no clue.
Like stop screwing around.
Very good. Good job, Wayne. Okay. The next one is schmuck.
Well, the schmuck is like a jerk.
Wow.
That's an easier one.
2 for 2.
We've appropriated that one. We being all the non-Jewish people.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
I made this list when I thought Scotty was going to be on, and well, Scotty's not the brightest Gentile in the bunch, so Wayne, you're already 2 ahead of what I thought Scotty would be. So congratulations on that.
I think he's going to know the next one, too. We should have taken bets. I think he's going to know the next one. What's the next one, Freddie?
Tuchus. T-U-C-H-U-S.
Tuchus?
Yeah, Tuchus is better. I went heavy in the accent, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe there's something different with the accent change. It. Tuchus is like somebody's rear.
Yeah.
Nice. You kicked Tuchus in the butt. Okay, good. Okay, klutz. K-L-U-T-Z.
Somebody that's clumsy.
Man, you are rocking this.
You got to pick ones that we haven't appropriated into non-Jewish culture.
Trust me, I looked at a larger list and I was like, this is, I didn't want to go too far off the deep end,
I think these are easy.
They are.
Thanks.
I think the last one is going to be tough. Okay. Well, this next one might be easy as well. I don't know. Yeah. A nosh. N-O-S-H.
Nosh. I'm reminded of something like in England, nosh or not, something like that's like when you're kissing or when you're.
That's snog.
It is something you do with your mouth, though. Okay, nosh, and it's not kissing, but it is something you do with your mouth.
Okay, that leaves a lot open.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Wayne. This is a G-rated show.
Chewing?
It's good enough, yeah. To eat or to snack, yeah. To nosh, yeah.
All right.
Like you might see a restaurant in a Jewish neighborhood called Bagel Nosh.
Yes.
Okay.
Next one is hard, yeah. Mishigas. Mishigas. Mishigas.
Mishigas.
I think I pronounced it right, yeah.
Yeah, you did. That was a good one.
It wouldn't help even if you butchered it. Like I wouldn't. It would be just as confusing to me. Mishigas. Trying to see if there's a theme here to this, but there really hasn't been a theme in the words.
They're Yiddish. That's the theme. Maybe it would help if we also used a different form.
Wait, there's more than one form?
Meshugana. Does that help?
No, that doesn't help.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know if they were the same, but yeah, that makes sense, yeah. I would just say the world since around 2015 has been very mishigas. What do you think mishigas means?
I was going to say like very chaotic.
Yeah, good. Craziness, yeah. Breaking Bad were Jewish, he'd be called Mishigas instead of a Heisenberg or whatever. He definitely would be called Heisenberg. I think Heisenberg might have been a little Nazi adjacent.
Yeah, you think? So, man, since those were so easy, I'm trying to think of what other ones. Oh, I got one for you, Wayne. Do you know what verklempt means?
Verklempt? Sounds like a medical condition.
Oy vey.
He has no idea.
When do I ever?
Have you ever seen the sketch comedy Coffee Talk?
On this show, we talk about coffee, New York, daughters, dogs. You know, no big whoop, just coffee talk.
No.
All right. You wouldn't know.
I thought of it also. Yeah, it's a little dated, but yeah. I'm not sure what Wayne is, but yeah, that is the biggest use of verklempt.
I might have seen coffee talk, but not coffee talk.
Oh, well, it's the same.
I haven't seen coffee talk either.
It's Mike Myers doing an old Jewish woman on SNL in like the early 90s.
Now I'm getting a little verklempt.
Okay.
And she would always say,
talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
The Roman Empire was neither an empire nor took place in Rome.
Discuss.
So verklempt is Yiddish for I'm feeling a little like choked up, you know?
Emotional.
There you go. You go. Ellen, do you have any Yiddish words that you want to?
Well, my mom and my best friend's mom used to speak Yiddish to each other, and they thought we couldn't understand them. But we went and we bought the book, The Joys of Yiddish, and we would look things up. My best friend Stephanie and I. We would sit in the other room and listen to them talking because they didn't think we could understand, and then we would look things up so we could better understand. But my grandmother used to say, "Ge kaken auf en yahm."
Say what? What was you doing with a kaken yahm?
Kaken auf en yahm, which meant like go shit in the ocean or something like that. I don't know if that's actually what it means.
Like a Yiddish way of saying go fuck yourself.
Pretty much. Ge kaken auf en yahm.
I've heard that one said. I never knew what it meant. So there you go. You learn something new.
The more you know.
And have a little star. Now, the question, though, Sean, is who told you to go shit in the ocean?
It's a good question. No one told me to go shit in the ocean, but you sure as shit. I heard my grandmother and my grandfather and my aunts and uncles, they'd be sitting around at Rosh Hashanah talking about somebody, and they'd say, they'd bust out some Yiddish and like, oh, sounds like they don't like that person. They're going to tell them to go fuck themselves in the most Yiddish way.
In the gentlest, kindest way.
Yes, it's almost like a Yiddish version of "bless your heart."
Exactly. Bless your heart. She tries.
Yeah, she tries. That went far worse than I thought it would, because I really thought that Wayne was just going to butcher every single one of those. You've clearly earned your mensch status, so congratulations. You are now officially a mensch.
I set the bar low enough in the previous episode that I was able to exceed it this time.
There you go.
This is the story of your life, no?
Pretty close to the story of my life. Maybe I'll end up being a comedian.
Maybe you'll convert to Judaism for the jokes.
And the parties.
Definitely the parties.
So now, Freddie, besides being a comedian, I, of course, had to do my research on you. I know you have a podcast as well. Why don't you tell our lovely listeners about The Vanquished?
Oh, yeah. So it's a podcast about presidential candidate losers. And we go pretty deep on them. Yeah, we really analyze them. We'll kind of tell you what makes them a good person or a bad person, or what makes them funny. And there's always a lot of funny stuff. Yeah. Like we just did Grover Cleveland because he's the last guy to be a non-consecutive president. We've done John Kerry. We had a big comic guest, Mike Kaplan, on.
Kerry actually liked windsurfing and snowboarding, and it looked silly because those are like rich guy activities. But as one of the Bush people said, they think he actually thought that it made him look cool.
That's one of my favorite episodes. The nicest thing was also that these are very successful people who humiliated themselves in front of the entire country and usually did not become president, or sometimes they became president and lost as well. So it's real nice to cut through the noise on that. We did do Jimmy Carter after he died because he had lost after he was president.
Quick Jimmy Carter fact: he's the only president to have written more bestsellers, New York Times bestsellers, than were written about him.
That's amazing.
We wanted to really go through what a terrible president he was, and how he really didn't help people very much. So yeah. So yeah, we're not afraid to speak ill of the dead. I'll say that.
So have you ever done an episode on LBJ?
We probably could do LBJ because yeah, he does choose not to run. We covered him a lot. We did Hubert Humphrey, so we covered him a lot in that episode.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we would do. Yeah, just because the choosing not to run is so quick, I don't know if would get that deep into him. We could eventually. He's fascinating. Obviously, the funniest thing about him is he wanted people to know that he had a big penis. He would show his penis to everybody.
Wait, who was this?
LBJ. Like, I think that's how we got to the terminology of someone referring to their penis as their Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, LBJ referred to his penis personally as Jumbo, and he would show it to everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he didn't have online dating back then.
Makes Bill Clinton look tame.
Well, it just depends on who he shared the pictures with.
There are women now who will not go on a date with a guy unless they've seen a picture of his penis. Well, call me old-fashioned, but if you want to see what my penis looks like, you have to meet me first.
I don't even know if there's pictures. He's just showing his penis to everybody.
Oh, yeah, no. He would literally whip it out and talk about it.
He was an original flasher?
He might have been the original flasher, yes. He was like, hey, look at my Jumbo. What the hell, man? You're a president, for God's sakes.
Thing is, if you're president, you could make people who work for you watch you go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, because you're the president, you're in charge. So it's not a normal work situation. So you can basically tell the Secret Service or your staffers, or you gotta sit here and talk to me while I'm on the John and look at my Johnson and all that. Like, you can kind of just do whatever. You know what I mean? You're a powerful guy. I don't think it's right, but yeah, they don't have this, especially in the 60s, they don't have the same kind of work rules that you might think of in a modern office where everyone's kind of colleagues.
No, me too.
There also could have been an assassination attempt. I saw that in Mission Impossible. Somebody could come in the bathroom. So you got to have Secret Service there watching closely.
Oh, like an assassination attempt in the bathroom?
It theoretically could happen. Secret Service has got to have their eye on the balls.
Yeah, they have. I know. I read the Obama book, and they have a code for when the president goes to the bathroom. So, like, at least in the White House, because in the White House he can go to the bathroom alone, but they know he's in the bathroom, and like they're keeping a lookout on all the entrances. So yeah, that is their job to know when the president's in the bathroom for sure.
Okay, I know that we weren't going to go political, but I have to ask, like, what's the code word when the president goes bathroom on himself, as our lovely Cheeto in chief has been known to do?
It is weird. Since Obama, we haven't had a president who probably never soiled him. So yeah, Trump and Biden, it's just an era of presidents who at least probably peed on themselves. And I need to read a good book on that. Yeah, we need a book on by someone talking about Trump or Biden peeing on themselves. Even if Obama ever did pee on himself, he's not going to admit to it. And I forgot what he said what the code was for when he goes to the bathroom.
So loser presidential candidates. So not necessarily loser presidents, right? So at the end of the day, the Cheeto in chief is off limits to the Vanquished?
It is weird because we did Grover Cleveland, who has a similar thing where he lost and then came back. If you've ever lost an election, we could do you, but we do tend to focus more on the people who lost and weren't president. If Trump had lost, we probably would have done a big episode on him because then he would have lost twice in a row or whatever. We might do them at some point. It's just too much to cover. Like, people know a lot. And I was thinking about doing an episode on how he lost in 2020 and all the stuff that happened in his first term. And it's like, it's a lot. Like, it would take a lot to remember everything. So many things happened.
So have you thought anything at all about doing Hillary Clinton?
She's a big one, and we're eventually going to do her, and probably a lot of people hate us. I know the guy I do with, we're both leftists, but he was a leftist back in 2016, so he always disliked her. So it will be tough because the Hillary Clinton episode will be pretty critical of her, I think. But we're not up to it yet. We're still kind of getting our wings going and doing the less popular people.
Well, folks, I got to say, I'm hearing that chauffeur sound can only mean one thing. It's time for me to go gay schluffing.
Gay schluffing? I thought you had a girlfriend.
Yes, it's time for me to get some sleep. So a big thanks to all of you who are listening and all of you who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already, hit your favorite podcast platform. We're on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, all the big ones. You can find us there. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So I just want to give a big thanks to our guest, Freddy G. It's, been a pleasure talking with you. Why don't you hit the people real quick with how they can find you on social media?
Oh, yeah, it's Orange Freddy G on all the platforms. Yeah, big on, Instagram, TikTok. Hopefully, I mean, if it hasn't gone away by now, hopefully it doesn't go away. YouTube, Facebook, all that, Twitter, which I still call it that, and all those. So, appreciate that. And the podcast is The Vanquished if you want to hear me talk more about the presidential candidates.
Awesome. So, everyone, I definitely suggest you check out Freddy, follow him all over. And definitely tune in next time for another entertaining episode of Two Jews and a Gentile. Until then, shalom.
Shalom.